Tuesday edition of the CLBA webinar series. Hope everybody is doing well this afternoon. We got a couple of great lineups this afternoon for presenters, but before we get to that, there's a couple of things I want to do on the housekeeping side. June 17th, we're going to have our first workshop. You guys should be receiving information regarding that workshop and the contents of the workshop. That's going to be hosted by Terry Luker, and I think Joe from Credit Unity is going to be part of that also. I'm not sure who the other part of the guy is going to be. Second part of that, registration is open. Early bird special is on until June 30th. If you guys want to save yourself $200 on your attendee pass, take advantage of that prior to June 30th. Otherwise, it's going to full price, and we probably won't see another early bird until just before the conference. We are partnering with the SBA. The SBA is going to be presenting at the CLBA conference this year. Eric Armacote, who is with the Indianapolis division of the district office of SBA, is going to be doing a great presentation, and they're working on bringing in the guys from DC to do a policy. They got policymakers to do a presentation also. So it should be a really good afternoon of presenters out there in Indianapolis. This afternoon, I'm pleased to bring John Ivey in, corporate billing. John's going to talk a little bit about what they do, how they do it. I have the presentation up on my screen. There's something going on the IT side with GoToWebinar today. It won't let us share our cameras, and it won't let me move the presentation through the slides. So just bear with me. If you guys want a copy of everything today, let me know, and I can get you the presentation as well as the recording. John, with that said, my friend, I'm going to turn this over to you. Let me know if you need anything from me. Otherwise, if there's any questions, I'll bring them on and have them chat with you directly.
Thank you, Scotty. I appreciate that. And everyone, I appreciate you being on, and not having a camera and not having you look at me is probably the best thing that'll happen to you today. So don't worry about that. But anyway, yeah, I'm with corporate billing. Of course, we're a factoring company. We're located in Decatur, Alabama, and we're actually a division of South State Bank, which South State Bank is headquartered down in Winter Haven, Florida. The bank footprint covers there's some states on there that you see that the bank footprint covers, but we can do factoring facilities all across the country. In fact, South State is the largest Florida-based bank in the state of Florida. It's over $70 billion in assets, and it's a great bank. We're fortunate to be a division of South State. So kind of want to let you know we are bank owned, which allows us to do, deals that are, we can do a smaller deal around $100,000 a month as our floor in purchases, but we can go up to $150 million a month. So, we're pretty all over the place as far as size is concerned. We've been in business 31 years now. We cover several different business sectors. Of course, trucking transportation is what started the company 31 years ago, but of course we've added several different sectors since then: manufacturing, wholesale, energy restoration companies after storm hits. Where you got to get the power back restored, and they send all the linemen down to get that done. We do that, which is a big part of our business. We do wholesale truck and auto parts to new car dealers, between the new car dealer and the body shops. That's huge for us. That's one of our bread and butter products. And then most of the time, it's really easier for me to tell you what we won't look at, which there's only really two things that we just are in an emphatic no here, and that is construction companies and medical, where there's third-party billing, insurance billing involved. But as long as a company has an invoice that's for a 100% completed product or service, we can take a look at it. There can't be any progress billing involved where they, which that kind of goes in line with what construction does, where you're invoicing 25%, 25 until the project's completed. We can't do that, but as long as we're purchasing 100% completed products or services, we're good to go. I always like to say our motto here is that if you do run across a potential client and they are having cash flow issues due to growth, hyper growth, that is an absolute perfect scenario for us here at Corporate Billing. Banks like that slow, steady growth, and we like the vertical growth. And vertical growth, that scares banks, but it doesn't us. That fits us well. So, a lot of times a business will have a line of credit at their bank, and they will max out on their line of credit because they're growing so fast, and the banks are hesitant to increase that line. And we can come in and buy out that line of credit and keep funding them and give them as much access to cash as they need, and the bank doesn't lose their client. They continue to take the treasury and the deposits and that thing, and we just that type of thing. So we just continue on with funding them through their accounts receivables, and that's an absolute perfect scenario for us. So if you do have some clients that are experiencing cash flow problems, reach out to me. The good thing with us is we can take a look at an aging report. If you were to be able to get us a 90-day accounts receivable aging report, I can get our chief credit officer and underwriter on the phone, and within 5 minutes we can tell you whether or not we feel like we can move forward. So it would be a quick decision for us. We won't leave you hanging on that. But that's exactly where we are, and what we kind of look at, and kind of how we can help out your clients. One thing that, and I think that's the reason why I came to work. I've been here 9 years, and as you know, there are a ton of factoring companies out there, and great ones. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. But where I kind of feel like we kind of set ourselves apart is the personalized service that we do. In that, if you guys were to have a potential client and you send them to me and we feel like we can move forward, if it's in, I'm in Alabama, but if it's in New York, I'm on a plane to New York to sit down and meet with that client. We do a lot of hand holding here. We don't just do everything over the phone. Although we purchased $3.5 billion in invoices in 2025, we still have that face-to-face hand-holding type of customer service. Some factoring companies, you deal with them over the phone. You rarely ever see anyone from the factoring company that will come and visit, but that's not the way we do it here. So we want to partner with you. I would be glad to meet them with you, get on calls with you at any time. So it would be a great partnership, and that's something that I feel like that stands out with us as far as the customer service is concerned. Secondly, another thing that we don't do is we do not make a client sign a long-term contract. If you have a client that feels like they just need corporate billing for a while until they get their business going, cash flow is better, they can get a bank line of credit, excuse me, they can leave us at any time with no exit penalty. All they've got to do is just give us a 30-day written notice for us to clean the books up, and they can leave. There are factoring companies that will bind you to a long-term contract, and if you wanted to leave early, they will hit you with an exit penalty. We don't do any of that here. Another thing that we don't do is we do not add any fees to our quoted rates. So just for example, if I were to quote a rate of 1.5%, that we're going to purchase each invoice and charge 1.5%, that's what the client's going to pay. There are times when factoring companies will say, okay, you have to factor so much per month, and if you don't, we'll hit you with another fee, or every day that we ACH your money to you, we charge you a fee. We don't do any of that. The only fee that would ever have to be charged here is if the client wanted their funds wired, and that would be a $15 wire charge, which that's the bank charges that. But as far as standard ACH payments that the clients would get the next day after sending us their invoices, all of that is free. So we're very easy to work with. We try to make it easy on the clients, like I say, by not doing a lot of things that that they could probably see out there. So I want to just kind of let you guys today let you know how we kind of differentiate ourselves out there. And I know Scotty has my contact information, and he will send it to you. I never close. So you guys call me at any time. In fact, I talked with a broker. My wife and I, we were at the beach and got back Sunday, and I was talking to a broker Sunday afternoon. So you call me anytime. If you think you may have a potential client and you just want to run it by me, shoot it to me. Give me a call, whatever you need to do, and I will be happy to speak with you. And again, be happy to visit with you as well face to face. So that's the background of who we are, what we do. I do kind of want to go back to the client base that we have. We just, I'll give you some recent closings on our end of what we've done. There's actually a metal fabrication company here in town where we are, and what they are doing is they are building, they are manufacturing the metal parts that are going into these AI centers, data centers across the country. And I mean, that, as you know, that is growing like leaps and bounds. And so they're putting in racks, anything that would need to be done. And that was a $2.3 million a month facility with us. So we just got that funded last week. We got a storm cleanup energy restoration company that we closed last week. So that kind of gives you an idea on what we do. But like I said, the key that cranks the engine here, the number one key is that aging report. If you can get that aging report and you can get it to me, I can get you an answer very quick. So I'm going to shut up, and if anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them now. If you want to call me after we get off this call, I can answer them then. So, Scotty, I'll just throw it back to you.
Yeah. Perfect. Richard, I know you had a question. I think you just unmuted yourself. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, I had a question. Well, there's a couple of questions, but the first one is, do you do government contracts?
Yes, we will definitely take a look at government contracts. I'm glad you brought that up. I should have brought that up, Richard. Government contracts can be difficult to navigate, but we just hired our new chief credit officer and chief underwriter. He came from another factoring organization. He's got over 30 years of experience in it, and he has worked with government contracts before. So he told us he would definitely, not to say we can approve every one, but we can definitely take a look at a government contract and be happy to do that.
And what's the maximum? You said, is it 90 days or does it have to be 60 days? What is a typical invoice maximum amount, or the past?
You're talking about on terms before the chargeback.
Yeah.
We can, okay. Once we fund an invoice, we can work around it. In fact, a lot of our energy restoration storm cleanup companies, they operate. Typically, when we purchase an invoice, of course, we take over all of the collections, and we call on behalf of the company, and we do all of the collecting, and we charge back that invoice to them at 90 days, unless that client says, okay, is there any way we can stretch this out to 120? If it gets to that point, we'll have our underwriter look at it and see if it's feasible for us to do it, and we can work around that sometimes, just depending on the debtor itself.
Okay. And then as far as the contracts themselves, you can finance individual, like they don't have to finance all of their contracts? So
You
like the
okay?
ones
Good
that they,
question. Great. Yes, yeah, that's a great question. I should have brought that up again myself. Thank you, Richard.
no, no
Uh,
worries.
if a if we have a client, one of our clients, and they have 20 customers, but they only want to factor 12 of them, then they can do that. The
Okay.
only kicker is that we have to purchase all of the invoices from each one of those customers. You can't pick and choose invoices to send us, but you can pick and choose customers to send us.
Okay. I get it now. Yeah. So the customers, but not
Yeah,
individual invoices.
that's correct. Yeah, because if we get in it, we've tried that before, but following the money is so difficult because there will be times when these companies will send us an invoice and we fund them and they say, "Oh, we didn't mean to send that invoice," and it becomes a paperwork nightmare on our side. So we just
Just to
we
simplify it,
need to
right?
purchase.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Got it. Um, and the other thing is on the pricing, I mean, it's basically
Hmm.
the structure would be uh, a factor of so much per month. And then is there a discounted amount that you hold or anything like that?
Okay, good question. The way, first of all, our fees they range anywhere from just a little less than 1% up to 3%, depending on two things. On number one is volume. The more invoices that we can purchase, the lower the rate is. And number two is what we call the turn, is how quick those invoices pay us back. So, just for example, if I have a client that we're purchasing $1 million a month in invoices, and we're getting paid back in 37 days, that client's going to get a better rate than someone that we're charging or that we're purchasing $500,000 a month and getting paid back in 45 days. And so on the pricing, we can do it several different ways. Anything really under $1 million a month, somewhere around that $800,000 a month, all the way down to 100, we just charge a flat discount fee. I mean, it could be, like I said, 1%, 1.25, 1.5, depending on volume. And that's what they would pay. Now, clients that do $1 million or more, we can structure the pricing where it sort of mirrors a bank line of credit type pricing, where we charge the prime rate plus a percentage. And you were talking about the advance rate. We can advance up to 90% of each invoice. And when we do that on the prime plus pricing, it saves that it's a cost saving to the client versus flat fee pricing, because they're paying a per day interest rate to us for every day that invoice is open until it gets paid, but they're only paying interest on, let's just say it's $1,000 invoice that we purchased for them. We're going to advance them $900, and they're going to pay us a daily interest fee on $900 instead of the full $1,000. And so it comes out cheaper in the end for them to do that with us than it would be a flat fee type pricing structure. But that's for around $900,000 and higher.
Okay. And how high can you guys go?
We can go up to 150 million a month. I mean, we've had clients that we've purchased $100 million a month in invoices. We've had clients we purchased $100,000 a month in invoices. So,
and I just need your contact information. So I guess that would be
okay. Yes, Scotty. I know Scotty's got
Richard,
that, and he'll probably send it back to you.
Yeah, Richard, if you send me an email, I'll send you the presentation and John's contact information. John's going to get a list of all the attendees too, so he can reach out to you guys also.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be glad to do that.
okay.
Thanks, Richard. Oscar, I know you had a question. Are you there? You just got to unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to talk too much today, guys,
Go.
but I was just trying to get a better idea of how much the broker makes on these transactions. I've heard a lot of factoring over the years and just never really done any of those transactions. So trying to get an idea of what the broker actually gets paid on these type of deals.
Yeah, Oscar, what we do on the broker commission is we pay, and the words that we use is up to a 10% commission per month on fees earned. And the reason we say up to 10% is, let's say you were to send me a client and we send them the term sheet and we tell them how much we're going to charge. And they come back and they say their margins are just too thin. They can't afford it. And if there's some way we can go back and shave something off of that to help them out to get the deal closed, it could be 8% or 9%. But standard broker commission is up to 10% per month. But we will work, we'll work with you. We'll tell you, we'll tell you up front. We'll let you know how much the rate is that we're going to charge. And if there's, something happens and we've got to go back and take a look at it again and see if we can shave it or not, we'll let you know. And then, then we can let you know if that's going to go down to 9 or 8 or whatever it takes to get the deal.
Okay, that's real helpful. My other question, I guess, would be then the broker's getting paid every month as you guys are getting paid on the new invoices. Is that how that works? Or
Yes, you get paid every month on invoices that we collected for that previous month. A company we may have $1 million outstanding with them, but we may have only collected $500,000 that past month of that million. You would get paid the 10% on that 500,000, and you would get a broker statement, and it would show you all of the the collections that we've got. You would get that, and but if we've got $1 million outstanding and we've collected 800,000, you get paid on 800,000.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Brian, I know you had a question. You just have to unmute yourself, sir. Hey, Brian, can you hear me? Let's see if I can ask his question for him. Let's see. Will you do the billing and collection for all your clients, for all the clients?
We don't do the billing. We do the collections. What the client would do is they would just continue to invoice their customers just like they always have. It would have their logo on it. None of that would change. They would just continue to invoice their clients, but on their invoice, we send them a stamp where they can put it on there where it says remit payment to corporate billing, and it has our address on there. So, so their customers are not going to see a statement that just says corporate billing on it. It will directly come from the client with a remit on there with our address.
Perfect. And is that the lockbox? Is that what you guys use?
Yes. The payments can go to our lockbox, which is our lockbox. Our lockbox is actually in Birmingham with our bank, and South State has a big bank presence in Birmingham, and that's where it goes.
Perfect. Asked to unmute. Oh, that's right. Brian said he couldn't unmute, so that's okay. No worries. We're all good. Any other questions for John while we have him? That was a great bunch of questions, guys and gals.
Great questions.
I have a lot of requests for your contact information.
Okay.
So we'll make sure you get everybody that was on the call today.
Yes, and I just want to reiterate to everyone out there, I'm a phone call away. You call me anytime, we can discuss it, and we can get you answers quick.
Let's see here. don't know what that means. Okay. All right. Let's see. Any other questions while we got John? I'm just kind of going through here and seeing what's here. I know there are people just asking for your contact information, stuff like that. So we'll make sure we get all that out. All right, good. That was good, man. It was really good. Did we miss anything, John? Is there anything else that was left off as far as questions go? That was some great stuff.
No, as far as I know, I mean, I think we covered most everything. And if anyone out there is ever on the call and they are ever in the Decatur, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama area, hit me up. We'll go eat. Come on.
There you go. How do brokers get onboarded with you? Is there anything that they need to do to start sending you deals, or just call you up and put the deals in? And more importantly, what would you like to see if you're going to look at a transaction from a broker? Just as a quick, bird's eye view of the snapshot of the company. What would you need to see?
Yeah, if it's a new broker that hasn't send us any deals before, all they need to do is, like I said, first thing, just call us and see if we can do the deal. If we can do the deal, we will send them a broker agreement. And in that broker agreement, it basically kind of reiterates what I just said. And they sign the broker agreement, and we're off running. That's all you need to do, all we need. But as far as what they need to get me to get started, it's that aging report. That thing's golden, because it's going to tell us, who their clients are. And, we really are concerned a lot with who's paying us back. So that's why that aging report helps us out so much, because it's going to list their clients, and our credit department can go down and look at each client and see, how much, credit we can extend to each client and that type of thing. So yeah, just the aging report and a phone call is all I need.
Perfect. And then on the commission side for a broker, brokers are going to get a monthly statement? Is that correct? For that particular client, or it could be a number of clients they have with you. Is it going to be one statement just breaking down each client, or how does that work, and what will they see from a commission statement? And then do they get paid via wire or check on the commission side?
They would be, what they would do is they would actually get paid via ACH. We would ACH, they would just give us an account number, and our accounting department would just ACH that money to them. I don't know exactly what day of the month that goes out. I can find out. But yeah, it would be a monthly payout via ACH.
Perfect. And then they would also, like I mentioned, they'd get a commission statement showing, X client had this much factored, and, this is the commission and formula and all that stuff too. Now, on the other side, for the customer, does the customer get the same sort of, well, it's a different statement, but it's more of the payable statement on what was paid, what's outstanding, and what the interest charges are?
Yes, if the client that they send me, if we sign them up, they will automatically be registered and trained by our inside people here. We'll do a training with them on how to access our portal, and they would have their own login information, and we have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week portal where they can always go in and they can see all of the invoices that they've sent us, the ones that have been paid, the ones that are still outstanding. They will also get the collector's notes on each payment. It may say, I called XYZ Manufacturing Company about invoice number 1234, and they say payment was submitted yesterday. So they'll put that in there. So they get access to the portal that will give them all the information that they ever need.
That's awesome. That's great. Did anybody, I didn't even know if they asked, is this recourse or non-recourse?
Most of what we do is recourse. However, on our wholesale new car dealer, truck dealer, all of that is non-recourse. But we can discuss a client. Of course, when you get into non-recourse, the rates are a lot higher. And, that's the thing, because, we're taking the risk, so the rates would be higher. But we can discuss non-recourse situations if needed.
Okay. I just didn't know if anybody asked the question, so I figured I'd just throw it out there and ask it. All right, great stuff. Anything else for John while we have him? No, it doesn't look like it, John. All right, my friend, this was great. What I'll do is I'll have the recording and all the attendee stuff tomorrow morning. I'll send that out to you. And as I mentioned before, anybody that wants a copy of the recording and this presentation, please just shoot me an email or a text message requesting this, and I'll make sure you guys get that also.
Well, thank you, Scotty, for allowing me to be on today. I appreciate it, and I look forward to partnering with everyone out there. And like I said, I'm always open, so give me a call.
Perfect. Thanks, John. I appreciate you. Have yourself a good one. We'll be catching up soon.
Okay. Thank you, Scotty.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. See ya. We have another lender up on deck. I have to reach out to Tim, let him know that we finished early. If you guys are okay with that, I'm going to just put you all on mute, reach out to Tim, and be back in a few minutes. I know we ended about 10 minutes early on that last presentation, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I'll be back in a minute or so. Thank you so much. No, I just reached out to Tim. I'm waiting for him to respond or just jump on, but he'll be with us shortly. Thanks again. I appreciate your patience. He'll be on in a few minutes. Hey, Tim, how are you? Can you hear me? Tim, can you hear me?
Okay, Scott, how are you doing?
Oh, there he is. Tim Hudiger, how
I'm
are you,
doing
man?
all right.
Good. Let me see if I can make you the presenter. You should get a notification if you have anything you want to put up on screen, or you can just
Yeah,
chat,
that
whatever you
sounds
feel
good.
like doing. We have everybody here. John Ivy finished a few minutes early, so everybody's
Okay.
been on the phone waiting for you. So we can just jump into it if you want to.
Wonderful. Let me see if I can. I haven't used this one for a while. The go-to meeting. We used to use this one all the time, and there's so many different versions now that they all have their own little nuances.
I know it's crazy.
I wish it'd be a universal one. That'd be
We're
fun.
I think we're gonna flip to Zoom next year, because it might be a little easier to work with the volume of people we get on here. They just GoTo just made a platform change within the last week and a half. And last week I logged on last week and it was a whole new platform, which I didn't know they were doing. And I'm like, holy crap, what's going on here?
Yeah, they start changing things around us. Can you see the presentation now?
I cannot. I see you, but I don't see the presentation.
Okay, hang on a second.
I wonder if oh, all right. There we go. Let's see here. Your presentation is behind you. There it is. I can see it now.
All right, good.
If you could just make it a little bit bigger, that would be
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I think I have 5 or 6 of these different variations of go-to that we
There you go.
use. It gets a little tricky sometimes
Perfect.
on.
All right, guys. Yeah. Well, Tim, welcome. We have Tim Hudiger with Vantage Merchant Services. Tim is going to be talking about what he does at Vantage and how credit card processing can be another revenue stream for you on a residual basis. Tim, with that said, I'm going to turn this over to you. If there's any questions, I'll bring them in and just politely interrupt as you're going through the presentation.
Hey, I appreciate that, Scott, and as always, appreciate the opportunity. So, at Vantage Merchant Services, I'll just say we're not a lender, we're not an MCA provider. Sometimes it confuses people because we have the word merchant in our title, but what that refers to is merchant services. So we provide credit card processing services to business owners. So we set up businesses that are new and they don't have credit card processing yet. They want to accept credit cards at their business. And we also work with a lot of existing businesses that migrate over to us for preferred rates, better customer service, better technology, and the like. So, with that being said, I will get started here and go through this. And what we call this is the ultimate credit card processing referral program. So, you don't have to really worry about trying to understand the inner workings of the payment processing industry or become an expert. It truly is a referral program that you can offer. So again, my name is Tim Hudiger. I'm president and CEO of Vantage. Um, in addition to Vantage Merchant Services, I'm also a commercial loan broker, and we have Vantage Commercial Capital as well. And that's actually how we met Scott and John and a lot of the Terry and a lot of the folks that are in the industry now. I have 25 plus years in the payment processing industry. Actually started my first job out of college back in 1996. I'm probably dating myself a little bit here, but that's when I started in this industry. And I started my first company in 2002, sold one in 2014. And, as far as my story, I sold my company in 2014, got into commercial lending. And what I found in commercial lending was that once I was working with a client and, helping them obtain a loan or just building good relationships with them, it was really easy to convert them over to merchant processing services. So that's how really this came about with the referral program, because it's something that I wanted to offer to other brokers as well to have an extra avenue to make residual income. So we certainly welcome the opportunity to work with all CLBA brokers, and I will be your direct contact for the referral program. So as far as credit card processing goes, I didn't know this before I got into the industry, so I certainly wouldn't expect anyone else to. But when a business owner, we call them merchants, when a business owner accepts a credit card payment from one of their customers, they have to pay a fee, a processing fee to the provider, like Vantage Merchant Services. So the fee that the merchant is paying is typically a percentage of the sales amount. So, what I found is that processing rates and the fees, they vary quite a bit between the banks and our competitors that are out there. So factors like the industry type, the specific card variety being used. So for example, is a debit card being used, or is a reward card, or one of the super reward card like a MasterCard World Elite or a Visa, say for example Reserve card. All of those affect the pricing. So MasterCard, Visa, Amex, Discover, and the like, what they do at this point is they really just set the rates and the regulations, and they market their respective brands. When I tell people what I do, the common response is that, well, I thought MasterCard and Visa did all of that. And there really is, there's some truth to that, because MasterCard and Visa used to do all of that up until the late 70s, early 80s. And then they turned that over to banks and independent sales organizations like Vantage to basically serve as the acquiring link and the customer service behind the scenes. So credit card processing fees are really, they're an expensive top line expense for any business owner. And that's where we can come in. We can be creative. We can help with cost reduction and fee reduction, and really make our referral partners look good at the same time. So as far as who we are in the industry and what our place is, I've mentioned that we've been around for over 25 years. We do business in all 50 states at this point. We do not do business outside of the U.S. So our company we work with virtually, all types of businesses to process credit and debit card transactions. And then we also provide our own in-house customer service and our own in-house support, which I think is a great way to differentiate ourselves from the larger competitors out there. The only industry that we do not really work with is the cannabis industry, because it's still a federally restricted business, so we can't touch that. Everything else pretty much we can do, including traditional high risk that banks won't touch. So as far as how we process, so we process with credit card machines or terminals, virtual terminals through your computer or laptop. We have our online gateways. We have our own. We have POS systems that we can integrate into, and we even have our own mobile solutions where you can download an app and you can turn your smartphone or your tablet into a mobile credit card terminal. New and existing businesses, work with us to help us really with rate reduction and personalized support. And like I said, the referral partners that we work with, they're going to get paid monthly residuals for simply referring us to their clients. So benefits to your clients and referrals would be as follows. We're going to be much more aggressive and less greedy than our larger banks and most competitors out there. So with our pricing model, we don't have a one size fits all by any means. We customize every deal that we see. And with doing that, we find that we can save over 90% of business owners money on their processing fees. The typical savings range anywhere from 10 to 50%. We actually have a new program that we just launched called our Rate Saver program, where we're seeing 95% savings compared to existing fees with our Rate Saver programs. On average across the boards, we're seeing somewhere between 27 and 30% in savings. Superior processing solutions versus the one size fits all. So competitors out there like Square and Stripe, not saying anything bad about them, they have great technology, but they pretty much just have a one size fits all rate plan, and that's a good way to overpay, in my opinion. Excuse me. The personalized customer support is a huge difference. We like to say that we do business on a first name basis versus doing business by your 16-digit merchant number. And I would compare the typical merchant support in our industry to that of, say, cable TV, internet providers. It's terrible. So you're usually calling in a 1-800 number. They try to solve your problem, which they never can do for the first 5 minutes with touch tone automation. When you get somebody on the line, it's somebody that's probably in a different country and really cares nothing about you and really wants to probably get you off the phone as quickly as they can. So we took the exact opposite approach to that, over 25 years ago. And that's where we introduced our personalized support. So each merchant that we board with us will actually have an assigned specialist that will be there, more like a concierge type boutique service. I'll say assistant, but customer service when they need them. And again, we'll do business on a first name basis here at Advantage. So simply stated, what we can offer your clients are your referrals. Doesn't have to be a client. We could offer them superior pricing, support, and processing solutions. And that really does separate us from the competition. So the referral partner benefits. So what would be, in it for you to refer a client or a friend or a family member over to Vantage? Well, you're going to get paid 25% of our company gross profit on all closed deals. And that really can create a nice passive revenue stream on a monthly basis, especially as your portfolio grows. And the nice thing about residual and passive income, as if you've done any type of factoring deals, heck, Scott introduced me to a factoring company probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I'm still getting paid on them every month. So it's I love those type of products where you're paid over and over. We have a very fast and easy system here. So when I say that you really don't have to do anything, I mean that seriously. You take less than 5 minutes all in to send us a qualified referral by phoning it into us or sending us an email. There's absolutely no paperwork that you need to do. There's no selling required, and like I said early on, there's really no need to become an expert in our industry. You can be as involved in the process as you would like, and you can change that up as the referrals change. I know there's different dynamics to different relationships that you have. Most brokers just simply hand it off to me, and we keep them in the loop. And if we get stuck, we may, call you back or email you to nudge your client to get back with us or to provide us a piece of information. But there's no need to get, in the weeds here unless you want to. It's not going to affect your commissions either way. But if you would like to be involved in conference calls, if you'd like to be involved in, getting the enrollment form sent in and filled out, gathering merchant statements, or, even want to help with some installation of equipment, that's great. We'd love to have you on board with us and help out. You're going to strengthen your relationships.
Hey, Tim, quick question for you.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim.
You bet.
So, here's, let's see, a couple questions. Would that be QuickBook Online as well, as far as one size fits all?
Yes. QuickBook Online, they do have a one size fits all solution. We do have a way we can kind of a quasi integration into QuickBooks that we can offer kind of a link that will work in conjunction with that solution. But yeah, QuickBooks, I would say, is a one size fits all for sure.
Okay, cool. And then what did Brian say? He said, he said 60 to 70% of our clients are on QuickBook Online products. So I didn't know QuickBook offered merchant services.
Yes, they do. They have, and they have been for quite some time. So QuickBooks is, they do. They make it really simple. It's a great integrated product to use. We do have a couple connectors that we can, integrate in with. And if you'd like to talk with me, offline on that, I can tell you how that works and how we might be able to go in and help those clients out.
Cool.
Yeah, good questions.
Is there initial setup for a business owner to switch, and is it a static cost?
There is not an initial cost to get set up. In fact, we even provide kind of an entry level. Well, I won't even call it an entry level. We even provide a pretty nice smart terminal for those merchants that sign up with us. Now, if they want to go with a full blown, let's say POS system, like a full blown Clover system with the cash register and the different peripherals and printers and so forth, we're going to charge for that, but we'll charge our costs since we're resellers with Clover. But we're not going to typically have any type of entry cost to get started with us. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Is it an initial setup? Yeah, and then to switch, and is it a static cost?
Well, it's a static cost that's relative to the monthly processing volume. So we're going to set a rate, we're going to establish that rate, and that's going to be a set rate. A lot of our competitors like to go in with rates and then, increase them every 6 months, and we don't do that. But if we go in and we're charging 2%, it's going to remain the same. But of course, the static cost really wouldn't exist because it's all relative based on what the processing volume of that certain month is. But I think the question probably being asked is, are the rates set and fixed? And the answer is yes, they are.
Okay. Michael, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thanks, Tim. And just one other thing, when it comes, let's say you got a new restaurant bar and they need the POS systems and they need the equipment. Do we also make the 25% company gross off of that initial setup?
You don't, because we don't charge for it. We don't upcharge for the equipment. We're resellers with a few. My favorite to use is the Clover system. And it's just a value add of working with us. We're going to provide our authorized reseller costs. We're not going to, increase it off. We're just how we do business. But good question, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Those are all really good questions. But getting back to strengthening your relationships, we don't really do much direct marketing. We never have, quite honestly, because we've never really been that successful with just going out and knocking on doors randomly. It really comes down to relationships and who you know and the trust of a referral. So the way we've done business over the last 25 years is by aligning with certain groups, whether it be software companies for integrations, whether it be local or state or national associations and working with members, or working with commercial loan brokers, for example, as well. So all of our business is based on relationships, it's based on trust, and it's based on referral partners, knowing that when they turn over and send a client our way, we're going to treat them like one of our own, and we're going to put them first and foremost to make you look good. So you can always trust that we're gonna do the right thing by your referrals. Referral partner benefits, again, it kind of goes hand in hand. Your clients are going to save money. They're going to receive a level of support that's really rare to find in our space. I say this and then we get somebody on board and they're actually, oh, you weren't kidding. You're not joking. I actually get to talk with so-and-so or so-and-so, and she answers the phone every time I call. So it's a real live person, and we do take that really seriously. In all fairness, With our business, it's not very support intense. Once we get a new merchant up and running, we set them up correctly. There's usually a few questions at the beginning, and then after that, we may go years and not hear from them. But it is nice to know that if they do need something, they can count on us to answer the phone and be there for them. So we do look forward to helping you and your clients profit more, which is a theme that we have throughout our business model, is helping those profit more. So I've got a few compensation examples here. Our profit margins are going to vary on every deal. So things that affect the compensation will be the merchant's previous pricing, their monthly sales volume, and the industry type that they're in. They all focus into that. We're going to average right at about 0.5% of profitability. So, if you take a small retail merchant that's processing, let's say $100,000 a month in volume, multiply that times 0.5%, and there's $500 that you can count on. That's going to be roughly what our margin would be, and that's just a placeholder for you to see where we're at. We're going to pay residuals each month. We pay it by way of an ACH deposit, and the commissions will always reflect the previous month's activity, simply because that's how we're compensated through MasterCard and Visa. Referral partners are going to be provided with a detailed residual report. So on that report, you're going to see your merchants that are on board with us, that have come on board. You're going to see their processing volume, their average ticket, and the company's gross profit will be on there as well. Active referral partners are compensated for the life of an account, and I really do think we've set the bar pretty low. We just ask that you send in one new piece of business annually to remain active, and then you can stay on that lifetime residual payout with us. And like I mentioned, our program does allow you to build a nice, lucrative passive income that'll supplement your commercial brokering deals. The 80-20% really does apply to building your portfolio. I've built several and I've looked at hundreds, and it's always the 80-20 curve. There's no such thing as a best business type to necessarily go after. The only way to determine profitability is to analyze the merchant statement and then apply our pricing model on that. So I get a lot of questions, what if this restaurant that I go to, I know the manager, they're processing $320,000 a month, what's the profitability on that? I have no way of telling. I have no way of telling if I can even help them. We have to see what they're paying now, how they're priced out, and then go from there and do an analysis. So I have a few examples there. You can look through that, but those are just some real examples that came through some brokers in the past that have sent us deals, and what the profits and the payouts look like. So I'll jump into this simple referral process that'll take you 5 minutes or less. You can simply send me an email or send an email over to InfoAdvantage. Just make sure that you CC your referral so we keep everybody in the loop, and include the name of the business and preferably their mobile phone number. Make an introduction. So the expert tip I have here on the introduction is that the more information you share with us up front, the better. And the best way to find that out is just ask. Mr. Merchant, is there anything outside of savings or other than savings that's important to you? And half of the business owners will say, no, just looking for savings. The other half will go off on a laundry list of things they don't like about their current provider, or things they wish they could have done differently. Those are the things we need to know, because the more that we can differentiate, the more that we can help a client with factors outside of just the sheer savings and rate, the easier it is to close the deal. And you'll be amazed with what people tell you. They'll say, yeah, I never get phone calls returned. I haven't been able to get a statement for 6 months because they changed the portal and no one will tell me the new login. I don't understand my statements and no one will go through it with me. I want to start doing a surcharge program, but I don't understand how to do it. So there'll be hundreds of things that people will come back with. And, we've been around long enough. We educate and help your clientele. Okay, number 2 here. You're working in the business. A lot of times you're already going to have this, especially if you do anything with SBA loans or any type of MCA. So if you can attach a recent and complete merchant statement, it helps us get ahead of the curve. We can do our analysis. We're going to need it at some point because that's how we, show your client and show you the line-by-line analysis and what the savings will look like had they been processing with us. The expert tip here, include the merchant statement. It's not mandatory, but it helps us close deals a lot faster and just puts us one step ahead of the process. Determine your level of involvement per deal. Once we receive your email and the introduction, we'll reach back out to you within 24 hours to discuss next steps. You can dictate, the level of involvement you want to be at per deal. And like I said, most brokers just hand it off and they're there if we need them. Occasionally, there might be clients that need more hand holding. We understand that. The expert tip I have here on this one is there's not really a need to become an expert in the industry. Make a solid referral and then defer the questions and any concerns to us. In other words, let's not get involved in the telephone game where, well, my client wants to know this. If this happens, how do you handle this? If there are specific questions about industry and how things work, let's at least have a joint phone call where we can make sure we're not losing information or information getting interpreted the wrong way. So let us do what we do best. Let us lead the dance. You can be involved in the background as much as you'd like. So I have a sample email submission report or paragraph here. I'll let you just read through this if you'd like. But this is really the ultimate email that we'd like to receive. It kind of goes through everything and tells us and gives us a roadmap of the next steps. We do have co-branded material available. So if you'd like to get involved with us a little bit more, maybe even customize a marketing campaign, we can help you with that. And we can brand your logo on some material as well to make it look a little bit more professional from your end. The question I get asked all the time, who makes the best referral? Well, like I said, there's really no one specific business that's better than the others. It's really relative in many angles. But if your client accepts credit cards and they're willing to allocate a little bit of their time, provide us a merchant statement that we can do, the analysis, and they're really generally in a position to make a switch. In other words, they're not processing with their best friend or their brother, or they're not not processing with their bank where they feel like they're handcuffed. Then it makes a really good referral. So, the business type and the volume really is secondary to that. So I would say any business owner who accepts credit cards has the potential of being a great referral. Your relationship and trust are by far the absolute most important elements of who and what makes a good referral. So, all things equal, people do business with people they like and trust. All things not equal, people still do business with those they like and trust. So clients are the most obvious. Family members, friends, even businesses you patron and go to can all be good referrals. And the brokers that send us the most business and do the best, they're coming from all angles. They're sending us their clients, of course, but they're sending us any family member they have, even if it's a third cousin that accepts credit cards. All their friends are hitting them up, and they even go to businesses and start talking to the owner of a liquor store. And the next thing you know, they're sending us the referral. So just keep your eyes and ears open, and if you do find that business owner who is open to the opportunity, chances are very good that we're going to be able to help them in some manner. So I would say ask the right questions for more referrals. A question I'm also asked is, what's the best way to sell your processing services to clients? And I'd say without a doubt, we receive this, the most And I believe the best way to sell our processing services is simply by asking the right questions. So this advice is, it's based on 25 years of personal experience and learning that most people, if not all people, don't like to be sold, right? A product or a service. They said they like to come to their own decisions on their own terms, and they tend to like their ideas the best. So, try asking your clients or a potential referral the following questions. This is an open-ended question, and it works magic. How satisfied are you with your current credit card processor? Do you feel you pay high fees to accept cards? These are very effective and powerful questions, because what you'll find is most business owners are not happy with the level of service they receive, and most feel that they're overpaying. So this opens the door to or paves the way for an introduction. So ask the magic question: how satisfied are you with your current credit card processor? Do you feel the fees are high? What else would you like to change if you could? Most likely your client will start complaining about service, fees, equipment issues, etc. Essentially, you have just uncovered your client's pain and engaged them engaged them on an emotional level. Now ask the following: what if I told you our processing partner typically saves our clients 10 to 50% off fees? And they could easily help you with the issues you just shared. Would it make sense to make an email introduction? And there you go. You've opened it up with no selling, and the client has already basically convinced themselves that it makes sense to talk to us. So that's what I would do, and that's what I do now. Well done. It's very likely that your client has just discovered that it makes sense to talk with us about payment processing. Make a business introduction advantage, and don't forget to help us understand how we can best serve your client's needs. So there's really not a long, difficult process to become a referral partner with Vantage. In fact, you can start today. We have a one-page merchant agreement that you would sign, or partner agreement, I should say, that you could sign and get boarded with us. But it's not uncommon to, have brokers start, texting me or calling and say, well, can I send my brother-in-law? He owns a ABC, so it's very easy to get started with us. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help other brokers make more money with this program, and obviously bring on more business our way. So I'll be your key contact. My email's listed there, and you can call or text me anytime too. My phone number is also a number you can text. And again, our program is truly designed to help you and your referrals profit more, and we certainly hope to be able to do some business with you. And Scott, with that, I will open it up if we have time for any more questions, if there are any.
Sure. Thanks, Tim. That was a great presentation, as always. We have time for a few more minutes. Does anybody have any other questions that they'd like to put in front of Tim right now before he takes off for the afternoon? Oh, looks like they may have asked all their questions, Tim. All right. Well, sorry. So, Tim, as I mentioned before, I'll get you the attendee list, and you can reach out to everybody also. But in the meantime, if you need to connect with Tim, his contact information is on the screen. T. Hudiger, VantageServe.com, and his number is 913-543-4242. And please, run some deals by him, have a conversation with him. He'll definitely help you make some residual money, and it's always good to have as a broker while you're chasing other deals.
Absolutely, and I appreciate it, Scott. And I'll get this deck out to the attendee list as well. And like I said, look forward to hearing from you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tim. Great to have you on this afternoon. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you, Scott. Take care.
Take care. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys for hanging in there this afternoon. We'll be back next week with 2 new lenders. I believe they are new lenders that you guys will be able to hear from, and we'll be ready to go on Tuesday starting at 3 p.m. If you guys need anything from me, my cell is 585-455-2985. I believe you all have my emails. Just shoot something my way. I'll be happy to help you out in any way I can. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the afternoon. Take care, Tim. See ya.
Take care.